It's the Rooster Teeth Drunk Tank.
Yay!
I'm always happy when we get a techno theme song as opposed to dude on the guitar by himself crying.
I agree.
Yeah.
Would you classify that as techno?
Well, something more upbeat. I don't know.
What are the different like genres of electronic music? There's electronica, house,
I
techno.
did not certify myself as an expert in computer-generated music here.
Griffin, you lived in Germany for a while. You want to step in and answer this?
Oh, no, it was a long time ago.
Yeah.
I went to the Love Parade, though.
There you go.
Yeah.
What is the
Wait,
Love
what?
Parade?
It's this big techno festival in Berlin once a year, and they usually get this year I went, it was like 1.4 million people just on this one street. You know what sucks about that though? I went with two of my friends who were gay, and we were really into like the club scene at the time, and we went all the way up to Berlin. We got a hotel, and one of them had my friend Noel, who's now
let's
Ryan.
name him.
Yeah, I don't know because they're very out.
I like that you named his alias too, like just in case the cops can't find Noel, they know to look for
They're
Ryan.
married. It's all legit over there.
Oh, okay. We'd like to welcome Noel's parents to the podcast.
So he had to go across the street to go to the bathroom. There was like some bathrooms across just this one street, and we lost him. Like there's just no way. It was so packed with people, and so for hours, like we were waiting for him at the spot. He never came back.
So your
friend went across the street to go to the bathroom and got lost.
Yeah, no, I just couldn't make it back. There were just too many people, so we got separated.
So your fun gay friend got lost in a gay crowd at a party.
Fun married gay friend, apparently.
He's like,
Oops,
I don't know what
got lost.
happened. I was looking for the porta potty, and the next thing you know, there were 92 dicks. I had to fight my way back.
Gee, I got delayed in the men's restroom at a gay pride event. How in the hell did that happen?
There was an ex-senator in there. I don't know what's going on.
Gay pride, it's the Love Parade. It's just like a big techno festival. Anyway,
Yeah.
So wait a minute. So why is it called the Love Festival if it's just techno music?
because
people love techno.
Do
you guys-
it's a good vibe.
I can put this in perspective
love
for you guys.
techno.
Do you guys remember a couple of years ago there was a funny photo, or maybe it was a video, of this like really muscular, scary-looking German dude with like a goatee dancing with glow sticks with no shirt on while he's walking in the street?
Techno Viking.
Yeah, Techno
Yeah.
Viking.
It's my my wallpaper.
That's the Love Parade. I
Oh,
think.
is it really that
Yeah,
guy?
same
Techno
thing.
Viking?
Yeah.
I didn't see 1.4 million people on that street.
Well,
I saw a few people trying to get out of the way at Techno Viking.
I think most of those people were probably in the line for the bathroom.
they were all delayed.
Okay, so anyway, we get separated from him, and so Marcus and I decided, okay, let's go back to the hotel. Like, we're freaked out.
Yeah.
So we went back to the hotel and watched the entire fucking Love Parade on our tiny little television in the hotel. And eventually, my friend Ryan comes back, and he's pissed off at us because we abandoned him. But I guess we didn't have cell phones. I don't know what the deal was. I guess it was before everyone had a cell phone.
So you went to Berlin to the Love Parade to then go to your hotel room and watch it
all
on TV.
Yeah, it sucked. And he was pissed off about it, you know? We were like, what? We're doing
How
a
long did it take him to show up?
Hours. Like, it was hours.
Yeah.
He was there for a long time.
Busy bathroom.
Do you guys want to go to Mardi Gras and watch it on TV while we're there in New
Yeah.
Orleans?
Have you been to Mardi Gras before?
I've never been to Mardi Gras.
How about you?
Yeah, of course. I grew up on
I
the side.
already
Yeah.
think the city of New Orleans is dirty enough. And like I've only ever been there once, and the entire city smelled like urine to me. I can't imagine what it's like when there's that crowd of people there for that. Have you ever been?
Yes. Do you remember how kind of paranoid I was about having 500 zombies out for the immersion shoot?
I do.
Yeah.
How I was very concerned about safety. There was talk about putting you guys inside that red house and having a choke point. I said, nope, we're not having 500 people try to get through a door. And then even the thing about instead of having them try to touch you, I wanted them to have a goal that you had to defend, where they had to grab the brain and not you guys.
Right.
The reason for that is I've been to Mardi Gras. And I don't know if there's 1.4 million people on the street, but it certainly feels that way. A buddy of mine in college did an experiment where he got in the crowd and he lifted up his feet and let just himself get pushed along with the crowd.
Whoa.
Where he said he went like 40 or 50 feet with just his legs or his feet off the ground.
That's crazy.
I got hit by a police baton once at Mardi Gras when I was a kid.
Really?
I was like 10 years old, and I ran up to a horse to pet it, like a cop horse, and the next thing I know, I just got a thump on the back of the head, and I looked up, and the cop was like, get away from the horse. And I was like, okay.
Wow.
I was like, I'm maybe 11.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, it's Alabama. What are you
See,
gonna
that's
do?
why the world changes. They used to be able to thump kids in the head with a police baton.
That'll teach me to appreciate that fine equine beast.
Might have been for your own safety, ironically.
Yeah.
Like the horse might have kicked or something weird like that.
So were you in Mardi Gras in Alabama? Am I hearing that
Mardi
right?
Gras was invented in Alabama.
Oh, get out of here!
Swear to God.
There's a documentary.
It's
on
true.
Netflix.
Mardi Gras was invented
Yeah.
in Mobile,
It's
Alabama,
sad.
and then it was taken by Joe Kane to New Orleans, where it became popularized.
God, you know what? You sound like a Canadian.
Look
You've
it
been
up on
talking to
Google.
Canadian for
Look
more
it
than
up.
10 minutes, and they haven't told you about everything that's invented in Canada.
I'm not
basketball.
going to tell you anything good about Alabama. It's a shithole, but they invented Mardi Gras. I will give them that.
I think we've talked about it before, but every good thing Alabama's ever done is, or wanted to do has been stolen from them, right? Like
But-
Mardi Gras, the airport in
we
Atlanta.
got Mardi Gras and Charles Barkley. That's it.
Well, here.
And Hank Aaron.
Also, isn't there a little bit of a difference in the coolness factor in the Mardi Gras in Mobile?
I'm
Alabama,
not
and the
saying that Mardi Gras in Alabama compares
Maybe.
in any way to Mardi Gras in New
Maybe
Orleans.
Mardi Gras is known about in the first place because New Orleans improved it.
Listen, let me put it this way. I'm not defending Alabama. We still have a white Mardi Gras and a black Mardi Gras in Alabama.
Oh God, really?
Yeah, no,
there's
that's not a joke. There's a documentary you can watch on Netflix about it.
It's rough.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's a horribly racist place. But they did do Mardi Gras first.
Do they do the moon pie thing?
I'm not saying they did it well.
In
Yeah,
New
they have the
Orleans?
moon pie thing.
But do they do it in New Orleans? Because I didn't.
I don't know if they have moon pies in New Orleans.
Because I never heard of them.
What's
until
what's
your
the
mom was
moon pie
talking
thing?
about it. Like it's a big deal. Like how many moon pies you get. Like that's what the goal is in Mobile.
It's like
Instead of
a
being
moon
sick.
pie eating contest or something.
No, I don't. Just people give them away. Like they hand them out.
So this sounds like my kind of thing. I love moon pies. I could totally get into that. You said this is for Mardi Gras in Alabama.
Yeah, like it's like one of the traditions. Instead of throwing candy, you do moon pies, right?
They have candy too, but it's mostly moon pies. Yeah,
Is Mardi Gras? Don't they have like king cake or something like that?
yeah. You bake a king cake, and
Is
then
that the evolution of the moon pie?
I have no idea.
Was New Orleans like, we can't get moon pies? We got to come up with our own thing.
I have no clue.
Is the king cake the one that has the
baby inside
plastic
of it?
doll in it?
Yeah.
That they bake it into the cake, and then if you get the slice where you crunch down and you're eating a plastic doll,
You get to wear a paper crown.
then you win. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
And you have to bring the cake the next time.
Something like that. Yeah.
It's
What
got,
is that?
It's got all the elements of a great tradition, you know, cancer-causing agents, food poisoning,
eating babies.
crunching down on babies' bones, you know.
Everything's great, but I got to say that the reason why I was so paranoid about safety, though, is something that I witnessed at Mardi Gras one year, which was it's just a sea of people. I mean, it's shoulder to shoulder nonstop, and you can get. I've heard about people passing out just from either heat exhaustion or from lack of oxygen, just from everyone breathing around them, or they just get overwhelmed by the crowd. But I saw across the street from me. Imagine the scenario where you're just packed in. And I saw across from me, I saw a fight break out, which the natural reaction of everyone in the crowd was to get away from the fight, to back away in like this circle. Flight, yes. There was fight in the middle and flight around the edges. But basically what that led to people falling down, and they fell on top of each other almost like dominoes, and then just people were trapped. Like they could not get back up because there was too many people, and they'd all fallen on each other.
Isn't this what happened to like every Kiss concert in the 70s?
Yeah, I heard horrible things too.
People would get trampled and die. Yeah.
There was a terrible thing at a rock concert in Austin at the Irwin Center when they had rows of folding chairs on the floor of the Irwin Center, which is our Coliseum that we have here. But they were all connected, and there were rows. And what happened was people pushed, and they basically folded up all the rows and flattened them on people's legs.
Oh my god!
So imagine like it's a solid row of folding chairs all connected, and then they just like all somehow collapse them, and then like they'll like go over like literally like dominoes.
Oh
with
my God.
All people's legs trapped in the middle of them.
You know, I don't know. We got off on a morbid tangent here, but that reminded me about something I heard last night
Yeah, we got away from the baby eating.
on the news. Did you hear about the woman who got trapped in the ventilation duct downtown?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she was kind of pretty too.
She was in Perry's Steakhouse. We're pretty sure we were eating while she was trapped in the air ducts.
No shit.
I did. I went on a double date with Jack and his girlfriend. But yeah, we were there. So we were there on Tuesday night, and the lady was discovered on Saturday. She was trying to get into the restaurant.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess they said that she tried the side door of the restaurant. That was closed. She tried the back door. That was closed. So she went into the parking garage and climbed into a ventilation duct to try to get
That's
into the
crazy.
into the
How do
restaurant.
these things?
I'm
that's
pretty
crazy.
sure this was an episode of Laverne and Shirley, actually, where they sent a letter to their boss and then regretted it and had to break into the building to get it back. Maybe it was something similar.
I just made a reservation. I have to say, it wasn't that hard.
No, that's crazy. Okay, so how did she actually die? Like, what was the cause of death?
Stupidity?
I mean, they haven't really said. Like,
I kind of figured it out with my wife.
Okay, go ahead.
No,
I
you-
have a theory, but
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I mean, the typical thing is like you're stuck in there. It could be, starvation, dehydration, that kind of thing.
Heat.
Yeah, especially because it's so hot. What I started wondering is they keep saying it's a ventilation duct. I wonder if it was like a heat vent for like some of the restaurant equipment, and she got cooked by hot air in there.
Like the stove, essentially,
Yeah.
the oven. Yeah.
How do you work your way into a ventilation duct at all? Like that
They
can't
said
be
she
an
was in the
accident.
parking garage, on the 3rd floor, and that she got into it to try to get down into the restaurant, and that she got stuck between the 1st and 2nd floor, like in a spot where she was too short to get back up out, and there was no way to advance further.
Yeah, so she went
And-
down. So she started off going down. So she climbed into a duct, went down a floor, and when
they
she
couldn't get back
And the way
And
the
she came
building
back
was
out.
constructed and made, there was no way anyone could hear her where she was. Like,
Right.
it was so far away
How do
from
you
where
find,
people
like,
were.
How do they find her? That
They,
could've gone
they
on for a
found
long
like some
time.
personal effects on the ground in the parking garage around the vent. And I guess someone decided to look in there. What was your theory? I'm curious.
No, you nailed it. Like she was in the parking garage on the 3rd floor, and so she went in. Essentially, there's a vertical duct. It sounds like she took the grate off the side of it and then dropped in, and then that was it. So like she made it to a corner down below that she couldn't pass, or she got wedged in. Either way, she was in there, and I ate at that restaurant while she was in the air duct.
Delicious.
Excellent pork chops, though.
That's fucked up. There's
Peop-
no excuse for that. Why would anyone do that?
That's the thing, right? You don't ever want to die in a stupid way.
Yeah, like,
Right?
so everyone knows how stupid you were on your way out.
Yeah,
Like, It's
exactly.
amazing that she lasted this long.
To be fair to her, this is a sitcom scenario that she's seen play out over and over again throughout her entire childhood and adult life. Like there was an episode of Always Sunny where they hid Frank's will in the thing, and they have to go try to find it, and they find Charlie's angry place. Remember, she probably thought it was totally safe.
Yeah.
If sitcoms have told her anything, it's that you can absolutely do this, and the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to fall through onto a table.
So we're looking at a potential sitcom lawsuit here.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
A best case scenario, you're like Bruce Willis in Die Hard, right?
Yeah,
and then
there
you
you
save
go.
the day, right? Russian terrorists take over Paris
maybe
Steakhouse.
somebody will shoot bullet holes in front of and behind you, but at the end of the day, you're going to be fine.
Just don't forget your shoes. Everything's good. But yeah, who knows? I mean, who really knows? But you want to go immediately to drunk because I've done some stupid stuff when I've been drunk.
I thought the same thing also. I think they said that she had been behaving erratically that day, and that she had just gotten fired from her job because of it.
Do you know what her job was?
She was a greeter at a restaurant at the W Hotel.
Huh.
And she had
Wow, that hotel has not been open very long.
And she used to work at Perry's.
In the W, isn't the W
yes.
the one losing all the glass panels?
Yeah, did you hear about
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Speaking of the W Hotel, they had panels of glass fall off the side of the building yesterday from 200 feet in the air.
Yikes.
For the second time in a month.
And land on people in the pool.
These are the panels that are there.
What?
Yeah,
So they're dead.
people got injured. They didn't say how seriously hurt, but the news said that 4 people had to be taken to the hospital.
And not only that, the glass panels they're talking about are the ones that are the railing for the balconies.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the balcony railings are essentially falling apart.
Yeah, they had to shut the street down. Cops did.
Yeah, and I think the hotel has closed like its street entrances so that glass doesn't fall on people anymore from 200 feet in the air.
I'd just like to say, though, bringing it all back together, Griffin and I stayed at a W Hotel in New Orleans at Christmas. It was lovely. Nothing fell on us.
How were the pork chops?
they,
Were they good? I have a strong feeling that the person who put up the contractor who put up the glass panels at the W Hotel are the same guys who work on our gate every other day. It didn't close again last night, by the way.
Oh, my God.
What the hell's wrong with it?
This is ongoing. I don't know. I have no clue. I dragged Brandon down
I
here
guess
last week
motherboard? Is that what he said? We have a faulty motherboard in our gate?
in our gate, in our thing that opens or closes. Do you need a motherboard for 2 functions? And really isn't just close the lack
The
of opening.
reverse.
Yeah, it's like
It's like
not
open,
open.
but the other way.
So well, maybe one day our gate will work, but I don't know. I guess we'll just have to hire someone to stand out there and open the gate for us.
Can we get the guy from Bungie? What's his name? Jerome?
What's that?
Can we get the guy from Bungie to do it for us?
I would-
Their security guard?
If we did, why don't we just hire him to scare the shit out of the gate contract?
Yeah, no
We're gonna
kidding.
scare the shit out of the gate. He'll scare it open and closed.
Would just make a grimace at it. Have we ever talked about Jerome on the podcast
Yeah,
before?
we've talked about him a
I think
couple
a long
times.
time ago, yeah.
Yeah. He is a big, scary dude. The best part about him, he's the best kind of security guard because he's a big, scary dude, and he has no memory.
Yeah.
I mean, you can... it's one thing if we don't go for 9 months and he
think-
doesn't remember us, but he doesn't remember us day to day.
I think they pay him not to remember. Like
I think
that's
so,
what
too.
he's paid for. Because you show up and you're like, "Hey, Jerome, good to see you." You know, you've seen me 100. No, I just yesterday. No, okay.
I just left for lunch
you
an
could-
hour ago.
yeah.
It's like, nope, sign this form.
That's
Come
my
here.
backpack over. No, okay.
What are you looking at? Don't look in that direction. He's basically the guy. He's the gatekeeper at Bungie, and he's not a man that you would ever want to mess with in a million years.
No.
Or try to sneak by.
Or try. No, you would definitely not want to try to sneak by.
Stay away from
Stay
the
with the
ducting.
ventilation fan. It's not going to work. We've already talked about it. That was a somber section of the podcast.
Hey,
Was
speaking
it somber? I mean, it's it's people do silly things. I mean, it's weird because it's here in town.
Eating babies and people dying in
We're
vents.
talking about eating cake. We went to the eating babies just for fun.
yeah, come on.
Did you get a chance to listen to Joel talk about snakes last week?
No, I haven't heard it yet, but you know how I feel about snakes.
Yeah. I was going to wonder if you were upset by it.
The idea, I heard the synopsis that freaked me out, and I'll probably never go to a public pool again, knowing that there are people out there like Joel and his brother.
Yeah, Joe didn't sound that afraid of snakes when he started telling about all the interactions he's had with them. I mean, he seems fairly comfortable just based on his story.
Well, do you think maybe he's afraid of snakes now because of those earlier interactions?
I don't know.
He's like learned from his mistake. He's like, don't trust the snakes.
Well, apparently he grew up in a house that has a 15-foot snake in it.
Yeah.
How would you have a fear of snakes if you grew up with a 15-foot snake?
I can't.
They found it in your mattress.
Yeah, right.
That might be one of the ways.
They find it in the ventilation above your bed one night.
You want to hear more about that? I wish we'd ask more about that because his brother lost the snake and it showed up, what did he say, 3 weeks later, and it was living in someone's mattress, one of their mattresses, like inside the mattress.
Yeah, that's scary.
All that makes me think is whose mattress was it, right? Was it Joel's?
And it's a python, so it's no stretch to think you could be asleep and it's just like working its way around you. And as you're snoring, it's just fucking squeezing the air out of you. You wake up gasping and it's already too late. You're fucked.
You wake up and it's like half swallowed your leg. It's just working its way up.
You're already half snake turd at that point. You may as well just give up.
You're on your way.
Are you going to be okay? You look like you're hyperventilating over there.
I can't. I feel like you guys are doing this just to fuck with me.
Can you imagine as a dad too? You go into your kids' room.
No,
you're like,
come
I'm scared.
on!
There's something. I think there might be something in the bed. You're like, oh, there's nothing on the bed. You lift up the sheet. And there's a 50-foot snake staring you in the face.
I can't imagine that.
So why are you afraid of snakes? Have we established this yet?
Oh, he just said he grew up in Florida.
Yeah, man, there's a lot of snakes in Florida. I won't talk about it. I've encountered a lot of poisonous snakes in my life. A lot of water moccasins.
Went to a lot of love festivals. Got delayed in the bathroom.
There was no love in those festivals.
Hey, listen. Speaking of this, there is something legitimate to be afraid of. Gus and I shared a link with each other last week, which is some dude.
Oh, yeah.
What is this on the Trinity River?
Yeah, it was southeast of Dallas.
All right.
I don't know what the Trinity
You
River
tell
is.
it. I'm going to look up the photo.
It was this guy, I guess. There's some show I've never seen. I guess called like Swamp People or something about people who live in the swamp and go and like shoot alligators and stuff.
Yeah.
I guess there was this lawyer in Dallas who saw that show and was like, "Oh, I want to try that." So he contacted some dudes who like are alligator hunters southeast of Dallas.
Isn't that illegal, by the way? Alligator hunting?
I don't know.
I think it is. It was illegal when I lived in Florida. It was a big deal.
It's probably different here.
Okay.
So anyway, he contacted these dudes, and he went out alligator hunting for the first time and shot an alligator. It was a 14-foot-long, 900-pound alligator.
Oh, God.
It looks like the thing from Lake Placid.
It looks like a dinosaur. He shot a dinosaur, is what he did.
Yeah.
So he killed it?
Yeah,
What's that?
you're right, Gus.
What's his name?
That's Betty White's pet from Lake Placid. She would
Right.
feed it cows. I remember that. Oh, my God. So he's like the Oliver Platt of the situation.
Yeah, I guess so.
I
I
like
can't believe anybody else ever saw
I like Lake Placid a lot.
I saw the movie, but I have no memory of it.
No?
No.
Yeah, it had Bill Pullman in it, too, I believe.
Sorry,
No,
I just got lost in a Heidi Montag gallery.
That
there.
is fucking ridiculous.
It was shot legally. Officials investigate if gator was shot legally.
It's almost as big as Heidi Montag's breast
So
implants.
is
There
it,
you go.
Is it one of those things with alligators, kind of like deer, where if once there's like enough of a population, they let you, you know?
Listen, I'm going to go on record and say
Thin herd.
I'm totally okay with alligators being shot all the time, especially if they're in a river.
Especially if they weigh
In
almost as
Dallas.
much as a little car.
There. That's in the bed of his pickup.
Holy shit!
Look at that thing. 880 pounds is what it says
But
here.
if something gets that big, it's almost a shame to kill it. You know, it's like
You can make a lot of luggage
It's a
out of
shame to
that.
kill it.
no, kind of. I mean, if it gets that big, and it's I don't know, it's kind of impressive. You know, why just put it in a zoo somewhere?
I
Why are you looking
I
at
would
me
be
like that?
investigating if there's any like power plant near that lake.
What do you think an 880-pound alligator eats on a daily basis?
Whatever the fuck it wants.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it must eat a cow. How
I
does it
wonder what the
survive?
volume is. Like, how much does it have to eat? Does it eat every other alligator it sees, or
Right, everything it comes in contact with.
Yeah.
Trees, you know? I mean, it must eat a cow a day, right?
I don't know.
It's a Texan.
It goes down to Lockhart about once a week.
Yeah.
It even said, listen to this. I asked that question. It says it's referred to as the giant cow-eating alligator. I'm going to see if there's more information about its diet. They didn't have time to interview it, I guess, before they shot it. See what its lifestyle is like. Yeah, but it was shot just outside of Dallas, which is fucking crazy.
Another reason
so
not
that's
to like
something to be
Dallas.
worried about.
Yeah, no, I'm now worried about that. Thank you.
Don't get me wrong. I can fight this animal.
You can.
Clearly, the guy won. I mean, look, this is intelligence in action.
Right.
That
He had the
alligator's
technology.
dead. This guy has a new trophy, and he has a shiny red pickup.
Yeah,
So-
I think the guy said that he's going to mount it on the wall in his office.
How the fuck's he gonna do that?
How big is his office?
He's gonna have to get a new wall.
That's
He's going to have to get like an addition to his office to
Yeah.
house the alligator.
That's gonna be great in meetings too, right? As a power play, like, oh, you see that monster up there? I shot it.
Yeah, totally.
Maybe
Be like,
Vader was like-
can I represent you, sir? Do you know who represented that alligator? The other guy.
He needs to mount a knife up there with it. Be like, I killed it with that knife,
Yeah, no kidding.
hand to hand.
Damn, that's unbelievable. But I'm with Griffin though too. It's like it just seems like really old. It seems like really sad that some dumbass went out and shot it with a
Yeah.
gun. You know what I mean? Just because he wanted to shoot a really big thing. I feel the same way. Even I hate great white sharks, but every now and then you see this record-setting rod and reel landing that they did with some massive great white shark, and the thing looks like it came from the Paleolithic era. Are
Yeah.
we in the Paleolithic era? Or what are we in now?
We're in the, I don't know, Cenozoic? Is that it? Cenozoic? Something like that?
Yeah, I think everything after the internet, we should make a new one. But yeah, it's just like it's these things, they live forever. You know what I mean? And they're these
How long do
giants of
alligators live?
nature. What's that?
How long do alligators live?
I don't know. But anybody want to make a guess?
I wonder how old that thing was. I don't know. I can't imagine they'd live more
And
than
sharks are
30
supposed
years.
to live a long time, right?
They'll count the rings, right?
Cut off the tail.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What is that about sharks that they don't they can't get cancer? Is that right?
yeah, something like that.
They don't have bones.
And they don't have bones.
No, they're all cartilage. They also don't have any muscles to push water through their gills, so they can't ever stop swimming. Somehow that freaks me out.
I think that the saying is that like sharks could potentially live forever if it wasn't for disease, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's like old age wouldn't really be.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what you said, like how they have to always be swimming in order to breathe.
Right.
When they sleep, don't they shut down their brain in sections? Like they'll let part of their brain sleep while the other part
Eats.
continues to make them swim.
And eat things.
Yeah, and then like the other one will shut down. Like it's like a redundant system.
That would
I
suck.
feel that way half the time anyway. It's the only parts of my brain working.
It's also known as a cubicle job, basically. Average lifespan, here's what Google is suggesting. Of a human, of a horse, of a dog, of a cat, and say of an alcoholic, an Alaskan Malamute, and now an alligator. No guesses as to what the average lifespan of an alligator
I'd
is?
say 30, 40 years.
25 years.
80.
I didn't take notes, so you guys are all going to have to remember your guesses. All
Whatever,
right, this is going to take me a while.
whatever you're about to say, that's what I said.
Why did we already talk about this? Why is there the stupid rule that if you go over, your guess doesn't count?
The price is right.
Price is right.
Yeah, but why is that?
It's bullshit.
They
Is
had,
what
to
it
make
is.
they had to make a rule for a game show.
Also black.
I'm with you.
They wanna-
going
'cause they-
over doesn't count.
they wanna
I mean, going
discourage-
over counts. Going over.
They want to discourage people from winning.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Wouldn't if
You
it's-
take away half of their potential to win. If they go over by $1, they're not eligible to win. It's just fucking scam is what it is.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So nobody can win.
Yeah.
But then they
No,
just,
but then people bid $1. Yeah. Or
or they just tell them to bid again.
Yes, but if you're on the final showdown, then two people get bids. If they both bid over, then nobody wins anything.
Yeah, but
That's
how
And
long
there's
does
there's no rebidding.
That is
it happens
true, but-
every episode.
No, I think I'm not a fucking.
No,
huge
I'm not
fan.
saying they overbid every episode, but there's one of those at the end of every episode, and that's the big money.
But both people don't overbid every time.
It happens.
No, they make them bid again.
Not at the very end, though.
Not at the very end.
They just say, "Oh, that's it. Everyone loses.
Yeah.
Bye."
Wah, wah,
That's
wah,
not
yeah.
true.
It is
That's not true.
Call Drew Carey.
Let's get Drew Carey on the podcast.
There's got to be a thing where there's got to be a thing online where they've had that happen. Then we should be able to look that up, right?
I would assume so.
A video where they've both overbid and the show ended.
Let's sure, or we could go back in time to the 1982 when people gave a shit, and we could just look there too.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it. They're such showmen on the Price is Right.
Yeah.
They have to let somebody win.
We'll have to do further research to figure that one out.
So I can't find this.
You can't find the average age of an alligator.
This is precisely the kind of information that an encyclopedia would have provided me in like 10 seconds, but on the internet, it's obscured by all these random events.
By Heidi Montag.
Yeah, sorry, I got lost in the Heidi Montag
Hey,
again.
Gus, did you see Cars 2 yet?
No, I have no plans to. Cars was easily my least favorite Pixar movie.
I agree with that.
Was Cars the highest grossing Pixar movie?
No, I think Finding Nemo was.
Okay. The average lifespan of an American alligator is 56 years old. Anybody? Who guessed that?
I
Who
guessed
guessed
80,
I said
I'm a
30
little
to
high.
40.
Where
You
do you
said
see-
80.
what-
Somewhere in there.
Oh, American
American alligator. I don't know why
Yeah,
they
okay.
did that. Yeah.
How old can they live? What's the oldest recorded?
I don't know. I don't have that. Come on. I'm not prepared for this conversation about alligators. The average lifespan of a carp is 100 years old.
What?
A carp.
No way.
Because humans don't eat them.
Yeah.
Can
That's the key to survival if you're an animal. Don't be delicious.
Exactly.
Be disgusting tasting. We'll leave you alone.
Man, turtles have it made, dude. So much for being sedentary. Turtles live. A Galapagos land turtle lives 193 years on average. On average, that's like a Vulcan.
Yeah, but the thing is, can you imagine like the kind of existence to go on that long? You're like, you hang out in your shell, you can't ever get out of your shell, and then like, I don't know, it just seems like the most boring existence.
It's
but the longest.
It's like even like clothes. You're born in your clothes and you live in your clothes.
That's all relative.
You're born in your clothes.
What's the most exciting thing that can happen to you?
Talk about a turtle.
Did Gavin join the podcast?
Talk about a fucking turtle.
No, they molt. They don't. The shell doesn't grow with them, right? They molt the
grow-
shell off and
The
get a new
shell
one?
doesn't molt, does it? That doesn't sound right.
Oh, wait, how
Do we know anything about anything?
Regardless, can you
Listen,
what
it
is the most
sheds its birth onesie and it grows into a grown-up turtle shell.
What's the most exciting thing that could possibly happen to you as a turtle other than dying?
Dude, how about this?
Did you see Finding Nemo? We were just talking about it. They're fucking swimming all over the world.
Listen,
Hanging out like surfers? Under
yeah, that's true. But also, listen,
Taking the EAC.
last night, at one point, I looked over at you, and you were laying on the bed, just staring at the ceiling. And I was like, what are you up to? And you're like, nothing, I'm just laying here. And I was like, do you want to watch TV or hang out or something? And you were like, nope, I'm just laying here relaxing. And you did that for an hour, and you had the biggest smile on your face, not having to talk to me or touch me. That's what it's like for a turtle all the time. They don't have to talk to me or touch me.
No, but that's
they just sit there and relax.
Everything.
Do you guys want to talk about it?
No, but like that's something that's fun, like occasionally, you know. But if you had to do that your entire life, it would be boring.
Sounds awesome.
Sounds pretty awesome to me.
There's a
Gus, just before the podcast, when we were laying out the workday and how we were going to handle the editing of the podcast and who was going to take care of it, it's always Gus. Gus's whole thing was, I'll get it done because I want to sleep.
the
His
earlier I
whole
get it done,
goal.
the earlier I can sleep.
It's 9 a.m. All he's thinking about now is when he's going to fall asleep tonight.
Yep.
To be sweet.
What time do you go to bed at night?
Between midnight and 1 a.m. typically.
Yeah, so do I. So what time do you usually get up?
7.
7. Okay. So if you love sleeping so much, you're not sleeping all that much. You sleep about 6 hours a day.
Yeah, I could go for more.
Could you?
Yeah.
I find if I sleep
could-
more, it kind of affects me worse. Like I feel better if I get about 6 hours, 7 hours
I
sleep.
think I feel best if I get about 11.
11?
Yeah.
Holy cow.
I can really sleep.
Yeah, you're pretty defensive of your sleep time too. Like I went to his house because I was told drop by any time. So I knock on the door and you ask me to leave. You're like, it's interesting that you came by.
Yeah.
It's nice
What
to
time
see
was
you.
it?
Sleep was code. I was about to get
It
laid.
was like 2 p.m.
Oh, you were about to?
I was about to get laid, and you came by, so I was like, yeah, I'm sleeping. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, that didn't happen.
Dude, whatever, you're married.
I know,
You're not
that's why it
getting
was
laid.
exciting. It was that time of year. If fucking Griffin comes that time and knocks
You
on
were
the door.
you were like, hey Esther, what are you doing laying on the bed there? And she's like, I'm just relaxing, staring at the ceiling. And you're like, oh, okay, you probably don't want to. No.
Jeff, you seem
I'm
to want
just
to
gonna
talk
go play
about this.
WoW.
Jeff keeps coming back to this.
No, if I were to talk about anything with my wife, it would be the intervention we're going to have over the van that you're never going to buy.
I'm not going to spend money on something that I'm not excited about.
My wife has been buying a van since October of last year.
How long did it take me to buy a new car? Seriously, how long was I looking for a new car?
How many conversations did I have to have with you about your new car?
How many years?
In that 5-6 years.
5-6 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we may have had 5 or 6 conversations.
Yeah, about one a year.
I may have 5 or 6 conversations a day about the van that doesn't exist.
I will say, Griffin.
She's now-
Stop involving yourself.
I see
I'm
Griffin.
not. What?
I see Griffin get excited about vans every now and then, but typically they have one wheel and they're in the junkyard down the street.
No, but
She's like, oh, look at that van. Like, that van has broken axles.
I'll tell you how bad it got. It got so bad that in December, I got so sick of hearing about the van that she's going to buy that I took her to a van store and I said, buy any van on the lot. You're at the van auto store. It's a fucking cornucopia of vans. It's like Van Shangri-La.
It's one,
Take your pick of the
van,
litter.
like 40
you
times.
get the
It's
sexiest van you want, buddy. And
It's the same van. You think it's a place that has like the one white cargo van, just a million of them.
she didn't buy any vans because they didn't have curtains. That was in December.
Curtains?
Oh,
It's
I can
now
make curtains.
almost July, and her plan last night was to buy a van in Los Angeles and drive it home from Anime Expo.
Yeah, well, the problem is that there aren't a lot of good vans, and they're kind of looking for a van with character.
What do you want? You want a 1966 Ford Econoline van? Is that,
like
yeah?
Yeah, 65.
Go figure those are hard to find. You think they're hard to find? Imagine till your van breaks and you have to try to get it fixed. And the only guy that can fix it is still in California.
No, there are people here that fix things. Oh, whatever.
Okay.
Griffin has things that she does where she likes to collect people that work on stuff, and she gets really excited when, like, we have this table now.
She's got a guy.
out in the foyer.
Yeah.
And what did you do to it, to the outside of it?
I didn't do anything. I just paid him to do stuff.
No, I'm saying, but what was done to it?
Oh, he just cleaned it up, and then he put a little black paint, and then like a couple of coats of varnish.
And so now you have your restoration guy.
I got like my junkyard guy.
You should say what this table is, because it's not.
It's an
a
old.
ta-
It's this antique furnace, and it like is the perfect size and shape for the table we've been looking for.
which has been repurposed into a table.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the sense that it's sitting there and we were calling it a table, but
Yeah.
it hasn't really changed other than that.
It's been repurposed.
Come this winter when we shut off the heat to save some money, you'll see. It'll be a furnace still.
This is from her guy who lives in Wyoming who comes down to Austin just to sell her furnaces.
Yeah.
Nice.
Pretty much.
Your furnace guy? You got that covered?
Yes, you got a furnace guy.
He works out of a storage unit. I think he might actually live in it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
we've
low
all
overhead.
thought about it.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, doesn't everyone in their life want a van guy? I want a van guy. Everybody needs to know a van guy. You know, you're missing an opportunity here, too, because you could go test drive vans with your wife all day.
He sees that as an opportunity.
That's like a mobile makeout mobile, man.
Did you miss the part where earlier we were talking about being married?
Okay, here's why I'm not going to do the thing you want me to
Griffin
do.
and I made out once, and now we have a 6-year-old.
Okay, let's leave us out of this.
Okay.
When I met you, you
Let's
had,
just talk about you.
before I was in the picture, you really wanted right when he was looking for a Wagoneer. Is that right?
Grand Wagoneer.
A Grand Wagoneer, and you're like,
Yep.
I need to have this. I've been wanting this forever. I'm going to go and buy it. And you were encouraging Bernie, right? And you're like, yeah, go ahead and do it.
I said, you know what? Yeah, if this is what you wanted your whole life and you want to buy yourself a cool car, go for it. I'm not a car guy.
How long did you look for one before you decided to buy a Mustang that you didn't need?
One day. But I
One day.
don't know why.
If you guess 36 hours, you went over and you lose.
why this is about me and mistakes that I made 15 years ago.
Okay, no, but because we operate differently. I'm not going to go and spend some money on something I don't want.
If you average out the time you all spend looking for cars, it's a normal amount of time.
Yeah, right.
Really? The 2 hours a night on Craigslist in Michigan, looking at a Ford. Like, this van's only $4,000. I mean, sure, it's in Michigan. I have to buy a ticket to Michigan, and then it doesn't have an engine,
calculated-
so I don't know how to get it back
Hey.
from Michigan. But it's blue.
For the record, I'm taking all of these things into account as the price of the vehicle. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
The good thing about Jeff is Jeff, in any situation, can evaluate it quicker than anyone I've ever met. Like this car thing, he's like, this is going to take too long. I've done it already for an hour, so fuck it, and I'm going to go out and buy a Mustang instead. Likewise, remember when you and I did this thing, what was it, like 10 years ago now?
Oh, yeah.
Where we weren't going to eat solid food. We were going to try to see how long we could go without eating solid food. Jeff, to this day, will tell you that he made it a full day, but we started at 7 p.m. We started after dinner, and he made it almost past lunch. So he skipped breakfast one day is what he did.
I made it to dinner.
doesn't even eat
The next.
breakfast.
I made it to the next dinner.
No, but you're that. That's just like that. He's like, here's the thing. I refuse to deny myself of something. So he will come up with these grand plans how he's going to quit whatever it is, like some kind of food or like bad food or drinking or whatever. And the moment it becomes like something, it's the moment it's something you want, you get angry with yourself for ever deciding to quit, and you get like it's this weird kind of resentment.
Listen, I'm
that you have
American.
with
I shouldn't have to
yourself.
quit things. It's my birthright.
No, it's just interesting to watch because you get really upset about it, but it was you who came up with it in the first place.
I'm mad about the van though. Let's talk about that.
Let's not talk about us, Griffin. Let's talk about you.
That was masterful, by the way.
Gus and I actually had a kind of a catty conversation about you, Jeff, on AIM one day. Because the other day when you told us that you had quit drinking, it was literally 6 hours until you tweeted a picture of your next drink.
I had quit for 9 days before I had that drink.
That's true.
did you?
I'll vouch for
It had
that,
been
yeah.
9 days.
That's true.
And I had a drink, and then I didn't drink again for another 5 days.
And what was it, a corpse? Well, no, that was your drink.
I had
It
to
was
go to
the
my-
matter, the root of the
The
situation.
root of the matter.
Root of the matter. It
It's
was
like- Absinthe and root beer.
absinthe and root beer. There you go.
Here's how much.
How do you not try that?
You don't. You should. You should absolutely try.
Absolutely.
But here's how much your friends can hurt you by how much they know about you. Because I aimed Gus, and I sent a link to your picture, and I said, "This is what Jeff is drinking 6 hours after he told us he wasn't going to drink," and he tweeted it on Twitter, and Gus just replies back, "It's probably a vegan drink, so it's okay." Reminding me of the time that you went vegan for
3 months.
3 months.
Yeah, they went for a while.
Yeah, the only reason, and why did I stop being vegan?
I made him stop.
Gus asked me. He pulled the best friend card.
I
literally-
was
he
living
said-
with him at the time, and I was like, "Listen, you're making my life hell."
He goes,
When that whole night.
I'm moving to Puerto Rico in a week, and I want to eat at all of my favorite restaurants in Austin before I go, and I don't want you screwing it up for me. So please stop being vegan for me. And so I did, because I'm a good friend.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Being vegan's pretty tough, though. I mean, it takes a while to get used to it.
It's not easy.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
vegan
you know
for
what's even
6
harder than
months.
being vegan is knowing a vegan. That can be even
It
harder.
depends on the kind of vegan, like, because some of them get pretty extreme and want to tell you exactly what you're doing wrong.
Dude, it is the quickest path to militants, it seems like. You know what I mean? If you're going to become militant, just become a vegan first. Like, that should be a platform in, like, any kind of, like, next, like, new government movement. First, we're going to make everybody vegan, and then they'll just, like, tell everyone in the world how to live their life.
Do you think it's
Or
because they're
how to be
hungry?
better.
Like, Guess if you and I get hungry, we get really bitchy.
Oh yeah,
Do you think that's what it is? Like, they're just always sort of hungry.
they're like deprived of protein,
We're gonna get
but not
so much-
protein. They're deprived of meat, I guess.
We're gonna get hate mail for this.
Yeah. Now,
Why?
But from who? Some vegans?
It's okay. They'll write the mail in soy ink, and it'll fade by the time it reaches us. No, but it's true. It's like, I get it. But I just wish that, why is that the one thing, why is it the one lifestyle change that you can make that you are most likely to, like, push on to other
I feel
people?
like there's other ones like that, like
Heavy religions like that,
Yeah.
too.
religion for sure. People. This is gonna sound. I might get hate mail for this. Recovering alcoholics.
Oh, yeah. But that's its own
Oh,
religion.
yeah. You can have conversations with people and be like, "Hey, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while." I'm like, "I'm doing good. How are you?" "Oh, I quit drinking. I'm in AA now." And you go, "Oh, wow, congratulations. That's great. Are you still drinking?" Yeah, I guess I am. When was the last time you drank?" "Well, I drank last night, actually. Thank you for asking." They go, "Really? What did you drink?" "Did you have a vodka tonic?" "Yes, I did." How was that? Was that a good vodka tonic?"
What
do you mean?
What kind of vodka did you use?"
They're
Oh,
living
that's good.
vicariously?
Yeah.
Oh.
They're like, "How many did you have?" "I had like 6. Ooh, wow.
Did you ever
yeah.
mix it with grapefruit juice before?
Did you ever, yeah,
That's
did you ever
good.
share? Just like a Greyhound kind of, but not. You have a lot of those conversations where
Yeah.
you can watch them salivate while you tell them, "Yeah, I just had a beer at lunch." They're like, "Oh,
I also find that recovering drug addicts and alcoholics also want to tell you all their super awesome drug and drunk stories.
Yeah.
It's like they have the greatest stories in the world, and it's like, well, if you're so ashamed of it, why do you talk about it constantly?
Yeah.
Well, I think the things that are bad for people are the things that they're most proud of, though.
Listen to that. Like the Kanye West song. What is it? "I'm trying to right my wrongs, but those same wrongs help me write this song." Isn't that the famous
Look at
lyric?
you.
there you go." Kanye West is officially no longer cool now. He's just been birdied.
As a podcast 120 over.
Let's not talk about us. Let's talk about you guys.
Anyway, for a while. Anyway,
But Jeff, let me ask you a question, because
Okay,
they brought
let's do
something
it.
up. How annoyed are you by these two, Gus and Griffin, by how often they do get bitchy, and we're just supposed to accept that?
I'll be like, "Why are you being a total cunt?" "I'm hungry." I'm like, "Oh, okay,
well,
sure. I
maybe-
guess it's fine."
Maybe we
All
shouldn't
right.
decide to take the long way to the restaurant, or let's not decide to wait in the office for like half an hour and telling everyone, "Yeah, I'm about there. Let's go. Let's go to lunch. Just
Yeah.
a second."
Or how about this? Pack a snack. You know?
Yeah.
if you both of you hit these lows,
It's your problem, not mine.
apparently,
You pack me a snack.
apparently,
Bring me a snack. Everything will be fine.
I'm gonna hump around a granola bar all the time. Just to be like, "Oh, you're bitchy today. All right, well here,
I'm not
eat
eating
this."
any granola bar. You're humping around all the time. I'm telling you that right now.
That must be why moms always carry snacks in their purse. It's because when they just don't want to put up with the irritable, hungry kids.
I guess so.
You know who does that? Chantel, stupid on the website. She always has like a little can of peaches in her purse. Like if
The
you're
can
hungry-
of peaches, like
and every time
specifically, she always has a can of
If she
peaches?
sees you and you're hanging, if you even mention you're hungry, she's like, "Oh, if I've got peaches," and she'll bring out like a little can of peaches.
Is it like
the
a
pop
store-bought
top.
one or like one that she canned
Oh
herself?
no, yeah, like store bought, like just the kind you pop up the top. You know, like you don't even need a can opener.
Okay.
So
There you go.
does she have kids?
I think she's got. I think she has one, but
That's a mom thing for sure.
yeah, no, it's totally a mom thing, but it's great. There should be more moms in the world.
So if you're a mom and you've identified that moms do this, why don't you do this for yourself? You have a purse?
I have a useless purse. It's tiny.
Do you have? I don't
Do you
think
have
I've
your
ever
purse
seen
here?
your purse. I wouldn't be able to describe
Yeah,
your
it's
purse.
stupid. It's like has this dumb chain for a strap that gets stuck in everything. It's stupid.
There you go.
Okay, this is
I like this. She's realizing this about the purse, but the van is still on the table.
Right.
You know?
Well, that's why you need the van. You need a lot of space for the stuff that doesn't fit in the purse.
By the way,
Well, she's saying that the purse is pretty but not functional in any way. But
I
let's
don't-
buy the classic van.
I don't know if she's mentioned this to you yet, but Griffin's going to need 1 to 7 days off next week to try to drive a van back
Yeah.
from California.
I
So
should mention that.
she'll probably be stuck in
In the middle of
Arizona for
summer?
at least 4 or 5 days.
Speaking of
it
which-
doesn't have air conditioning.
Speaking of which, we'll be at Anime Expo this weekend.
Oh yeah, well,
should
by
prob- we should probably promote
the
that.
royal we.
That's the reason.
Rooster Teeth will be at Anime Expo this weekend at booth number.
Oh shit, I don't know. At booth,
635.
yeah, somewhere in there.
well. Who's there? It's gonna be Kathleen. Monty will be there. I'm gonna be there, and
Yeah,
oh, is that it?
I think so.
Have fun. I haven't been to Anime Expo in a few years. The last time I went, they were still down in Anaheim, and then after Anaheim, they moved to Long Beach. And I know y'all went there a few years ago, and now they're in LA.
Last time I went, I had to break into that place to get in, and that was terrible. They would not let me in without a badge, but the badge pickup was inside.
Did you go through the ventilation duct?
I did. It was terrible. I was caught in this terrible catch-22, and I was like pointing it out to them, and even they saw it, and they were like, "Yeah, I don't know, I'm not supposed to let anybody in." Like,
Yeah.
I can see the badge pickup; it's right there. And they're like, "Yeah, if you don't have a badge, you can't come in." Like, that's right. Fucking, I'm gonna kill you.
I feel like
had to go in through the loading dock.
I feel like we've encountered that several times at different events.
Yeah.
where it's like you can't come in without a badge, but you need to go in to get the badge.
Yeah,
How do you solve that problem?
break in. Go through
Put the badge pickup outside of the badge area, or mail people badges ahead of time.
Just start throwing punches?
Or as the person in that situation, just walk in.
Yeah.
Stop me. Call,
Yeah.
call,
Call police.
Call the convention police.
You'll get your badge on by the time they show up.
Yeah, I would not give a shit about any convention employee ever, except for the old people that they have running San Diego Comic-Con. Something about those people freaks me out.
Dude, I'll tell you who you should give a shit about. Anybody that works at PAX East. Those Teamsters are scary.
Oh,
That's a good
yeah.
You
point.
don't fuck with those guys.
That's a good point. That would be another exemption. The enforcers at PAX.
Gus and I found ourselves. I think we already talked about this, but we found
Yeah.
ourselves trying to.
You're talking about like the guys who set up the convention. And,
Yeah, we're
like,
talking about the
legal
Teamsters
running
out in the loading dock.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think the reason why I don't include PAX in that list is because I don't run into these stupid fucking problems at PAX.
Good point. Shit just works at PAX.
Yeah, it's crazy too. It's like those enforcers at PAX. You find one of them, and you find one, and they solve your problem.
Yep.
You don't have to like keep going through enforcers to find the one that knows what the fuck they're talking
Or if
about.
the one that you find can't help you, they'll find someone who can.
And go with you.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about it. They're like, okay, I'll get so and so. They'll take care of it.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, and that's an entire army of volunteers essentially that are in that enforcer group. How many enforcers are there?
Hundreds.
I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah, you can always find one. It seems like that's a good group, man. If you've never been to PAX, that is a fun event, and the people there love it, and it really shows.
This PAX Prime is already sold out, I think, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Wow. And they're having the
And they
Halo
were
Fest.
able to increase how many?
I think they have like 10% more
10%
capacity
more,
this
yeah.
year.
Which puts them over 70, I think.
It's crazy.
Yeah, Halo Fest is a big part of PAX this year for the 10th anniversary of Halo, and I know we're doing a bunch of stuff for that. I've heard some really awesome stuff that's being planned for it. I'm not sure if I can talk about it.
Yeah,
I probably
yeah,
can't,
yeah.
but it's all.
Let's not.
But it's all awesome.
Just come by booth.
Sometimes I know our booth. Sometimes I don't.
It'll be a very very fun year at PAX this year in Seattle.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you don't have tickets, sorry, because now you can't get them, unfortunately. Maybe you can sit outside and scalp. You ever seen that before?
Can you get
People
them on
scalping?
Stealth Hub?
I've seen people doing that.
Have you really?
Yeah, I've seen people outside of PAX with badges trying to sell them.
What's the markup?
Oh. I already have my exhibitor badge.
So you don't stop to question.
Don't stop. And
Yeah.
they don't stop me from getting my badge either.
Do you ever hand your badge to anyone when you're leaving for the day?
No.
I do that
Ooh.
at Comic Con sometimes.
Our badges say Rooster Teeth Productions.
I know.
And
I know.
exhibitor.
and my name on
and
it.
gives you after hours access.
Yeah, probably
Yeah.
not a great idea.
Might not be the smartest thing to do. But if you're looking for an exhibitor badge, just try to catch Bernie in the last hour of an event.
Sure, if you want backstage access to Halo Fest, knock yourself out. So what would it take for you to get into a duct? Like, I would not do that. I'm not scared of snakes. I'm not scared of any of that stuff. But I would not get in an air duct.
I'm not scared of a duct. I don't give a fuck about a duct until until I heard that story last night.
Yeah, I'd do it right now.
I feel like if I get into a duct, I can get out of a duct.
Right.
What's the big deal?
You said you used to, when you were a kid, you used to hang out like in sewage drains, right? Like
Right.
What?
Yeah, I lived in Houston, and in Houston they had
You hung out in sewage drains?
we used to go exploring in the sewer pipes. Yeah, like just open manholes and go down and just go do that kind of stuff.
So that didn't bother you, but a duct would be.
No, I'm talking like a tight fit.
Yeah.
Isn't that how
So you're
Chud started?
claustrophobic?
I'm not really claustrophobic. I would actually. This is going to sound weird. I would actually like to sleep in a bed that has a lid. I don't know what it is about that. Like I like sleeping in tents and things like that, where it's like a tighter space. I like that a lot.
They should try one of those like hourly hotels in Japan where
Yeah.
they put you in the box.
I would like to try that. As long as I could get out. See, I had an older brother, so I know don't fucking don't get into anything that has a lid on it, because then he'll just sit on it for hours like an asshole.
I used to sleep in a laundry hamper for the same reason.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. So I'm not afraid of that. But if I like even being trapped in an elevator. That being trapped in the elevator wouldn't freak me out as much as the idea that we're so high up.
Yeah, no, that's the thing that would be scary.
Yeah, if you're like 60
things
floors
that
up.
can go wrong. Mm-hmm. Well, but the sewage drain, like there could be a big rush of water. You don't know. I mean,
Yeah, no, it did start raining one time when we were in there. And cover your earmuffs, Jeff. It started raining, and then water started coming in through the street drains, and you could see it then coming down the side pipes. These pipes that we were in were like 8 feet tall, and I was at the time like a 5-foot kid, and or maybe a 4.5-foot kid. But when the water started coming in, then snakes started coming out of like cracks in the walls and holes in the walls. It was seriously like it was like an Indiana Jones movie. We're like running out of the pipe with the water after us and the
And the
snakes.
snakes. The snakes are like surfing after you. on the wave.
Dude, I wasn't going to say anything. I spent so much time in storm drains when I was a kid.
Oh, really?
I never had that happen, though.
Oh, God.
We used to get in these ones that would go under the street in my grandparents' neighborhood, and it was about like this big around. Internet, can you see that? And so you'd be just
guess
enough
the
kid for a
metal
kid to
ones?
like shimmy through, and you'd get halfway under the street, and you'd lay there until a car went over, so it'd like shake real bad, and then you'd go back
You talking
out.
about the metal ones?
No, concrete.
Oh, concrete.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, just like 2 feet in diameter.
You
I
guys
guess.
ever do any cave stuff in Austin or Enchanted Rock?
Griffin has.
I've done in Bend, Oregon, the ice caves there.
Ice caves.
You've
That's
done
interesting.
urban
So those are different every year
exploration.
then.
Or they did, wait, say it again?
They must be different every year if they're
Do
ice
they
caves.
melt and reform?
No, because like it stays a constant temperature usually underground. I think they're usually around the same. I went in the summertime, and then it was icy down.
Oh, it was still icy in the summer?
Well, I went like a mile in, and then it gets really narrow, and there's a point where you just can't go any further.
I've been through Enchanted Rock, like the cave portion of it, like where you can crawl in it. And I
Wait,
stopped.
there's a cave in Shannon Rock.
You can
that
crawl
goes-
through like Enchanted Rock
Oh,
inside
I
of
didn't
it.
know that.
Yeah.
The last time
Oh,
I
yeah.
went in that was it. I was done because I was in there. It was a really tight space, and like it was like to the point. Like
I know
I'm pretty
exactly what
thin.
you're talking about.
I was even thinner back then, and I was really stuck, like trying to work my way through. And as part of that, I turned and looked up at the ceiling as I was working my way through, and the ceiling was just covered in spiders.
Daddy Longlegs. They have those huge nests of Daddy Longlegs.
And I was
God.
like,
I put my
fuck that. I just like went nuts trying to get out of there. I got my shit out of my hands. I was like, oh my God. And it's so tight. It's like, 6 inches, 8 inches in front of your face. Just like so close. You're like, oh man. It freaked me the fuck out.
That's what I had. I must have been in the exact same place, the exact same experience, but Daddy Longlegs just don't freak me out.
It was just jarring because you're in there and you're like so focused on the space, you don't think about what else is around you, I guess.
I actually put my hand in it, and it's like, why is my hand quivering and shaking?
I know
It's
they
like,
can't hurt you. It was just, I don't know, it was a weird fear response.
Unless you believe that horse shit that they're the most poisonous spider in the world.
In the moment that one of them mutates and has the mandibles to bite you, right?
They go all the way through your skin. Then watch
They're,
out.
they're working on it. They're breeding their top daddy long legs, like growing their fangs millimeter by millimeter.
Nazis did that in World War II, right? They were trying to breed the perfect daddy long legs.
You know, when I was a kid in Houston, I would get bored. I would catch mosquitoes, I would take them to the house, and I would microwave them for different periods of time and then let them loose in order to mutate them and make different mosquitoes. My idea...
You're like a wannabe mad scientist.
It was, yeah. My idea was like 3 seconds, 5 seconds. My idea was I would make a mutant mosquito that would kill all the other mosquitoes, and I would solve the mosquito problem for everybody in the world. So it was for good, but,
That's how it all starts.
Yeah, so I accidentally invented
Doc.
the West Nile virus, but other than that, it was all good.
You're not helping us with the vegans, Bernie.
Oh, yeah, with the microwave mosquitoes? Sorry about that.
Hey, speaking of Nazis, I sent you that link about the
Mosquitoes do eat blood. So.
Nazi dog trainers in World War II, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
They had that dog that joined the Nazi party because he hated the French.
Wait, what?
I guess the Germans were working on this program to develop. I guess some scientists thought that dogs were as smart as humans, and if they just trained them, they could learn how to talk, and that they could communicate with the dogs. And they had all these crazy stories about these super smart dogs that they had, and they said that one dog joined the German army because he hated the French.
That's funny.
And the dogs could say Heil Hitler.
Get out of here.
Supposedly.
No, I mean, but it was they're foolish. The dog didn't hate the French. I mean, come on.
But you can
I don't know.
But and then I sent a response to you. Like I sent you this other article. I guess that
Terrible. Mine was funny. Yours was terrible.
during World War II, the U.S. Army in secret was trying to train dogs to be racist against Asian people, so they could use them in the Pacific War against the Japanese.
Well, you can. I mean, you can get dogs to be racist. Sure.
No, they found they couldn't do it.
They couldn't do it.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Yeah, they got like Asian American soldiers in the U.S. Army to do cruel things to the dogs to try to get the dogs to hate the Japanese.
Like what? Make them hang out with French people? That kind of cruel stuff?
And anyway, ironically, the training took place at Cat Island off the coast of Mississippi.
Maybe that was part of the program. It's like, you're going to Cat Island. But there's all sort. I love that kind of stuff. I love all the crazy World War II stuff that was done. There was a program where they were going to strap tiny incendiary devices to bats. And they were going to let them loose over Japan so that the bats would then settle up in the eaves of the house at night, and then they would ignite all the bats, and they would set the entire, all of Tokyo on fire in one night.
You know, on a related note to that, I've heard that, and that's crazy. Did you know the Japanese had like a kind of a reverse version of that they were trying against the U.S., where they had school children building like fabric balloons that they would fill with helium and hydrogen and attach bombs to them, and then they would release them in Japan, let the trade winds bring them across to the U.S., and then they would detonate here. And in fact, several landed and detonated in the U.S., but they didn't talk about it because they didn't want the Japanese to know that the balloons were actually reaching the U.S.
That is bizarre.
No shit.
Yeah, they had people stationed on the West Coast, like Air Force people, specifically to shoot those down when they saw them.
Really?
And they say that there are still some unaccounted for in the U.S.
Well, I'm sure.
That landed and that haven't exploded.
Weird.
And I guess years ago in Oregon, I think it was,
Did school children do this, you said?
they had school children build the fabric balloon.
Wow.
And then the Army would use it. In Oregon, I think they found one like 20 or 30 years ago.
That doesn't surprise me.
And some people were killed by it. It was like a church group out in the forest found like a weird balloon with a ball attached to it, and they didn't understand what it was.
Well, if you go on the Oregon coast, they've got all these like old like concrete bunkers and stuff.
Do you
like,
think?
just along the coastline?
Do you think this is part of the plan, and that the Japanese have been waiting for these bombs to start going off 75 years later?
No,
No, you don't.
So.
Okay, just me.
You know, crazy though. It's like if
not the
you're
long play.
A scientist, learn how to make a weapon because you can get a grant for any weird thing.
Yeah.
Like, it sounds like.
Well, in a time of war, I mean, shit, they'll throw money at any kind of weapon, right?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like messing with bats and.
Speaking of weird shit, did I show you that jetpack from the 70s? Did I ever show that to you?
I don't think so.
There's a personal flying jetpack that they built in the 70s that went into production. They have videos of it on YouTube. I don't know what it's called. I'll have to find it for you. And you can get up and it can fly in any direction. It can go like 2,000 feet in the air. It goes 60 miles an
2,000
hour.
feet in the air?
Yeah, it goes really high. Maybe 10,000. It was like too high to go in. And you can find videos of people like flying it around, and it's all over Wikipedia. And then they tried to sell it to the military. The military decided that it wasn't... wasn't military ready, and so they just canceled the product, and it just hasn't existed since. And it was a perfectly working jetpack in the 70s. If you do a search on YouTube right now,
Oh
you'll
God!
find it.
Yeah, that thing
you remember I showed
me,
that
that's
thing?
Ridiculous.
It was
That can't be
crazy.
real.
Totally real. Totally real.
You should look.
I got into it about a month ago. I meant to tell you all about it.
I refuse to believe
I'll
that.
find it and I'll show it to
I
you.
refuse to believe that.
Gus, you can look this up, but I'm searching for a power charger for my laptop so I can show you this. But there was also a program in the U.S. military where they were going to paint foxes with glow-in-the-dark paint and set them loose on the Japanese islands at night because they represented some kind of spirit
Oh yeah.
in Japanese culture, and they were trying to scare the Japanese into thinking the islands were inhabited by these glow-in-the-dark foxes.
That's weird.
Dude.
I don't know what it was. I was
That's
trying to look it up.
brilliant. You're going to have your fucking work cut out for you today
That's really, really weird.
with link dumping. Hey,
And that's how they made the video game Okami.
I seriously do want to warn people from watching Cars 2, though. I tried to mention that earlier. It's a
warn
terrible,
people.
terrible film.
Like, don't
You should
even-
save your money.
You went and saw it?
The kids
Yeah, I
look
saw
like-
it Saturday.
I've been picking up kids at preschool lately, and they've all been
You pick
going
up kids at preschool?
Every time
Hey,
I
what's
go-
your name?
Every
You
time-
seen Cars too? Really? Get in the car.
Can you help me at Home Depot?
I got a car. I got a car. Next week I'm going to have a van.
You guys are assholes. No, I've been picking really from preschool. And every time I go, they're like, "Have you seen Cars 2?" And they're all really excited. So it appeals to preschoolers. They're into it.
I don't want to spoil anything, but I've been meaning to ask you, buddy, because we saw it together.
I went with you, and I agree totally. It's terrible, and no one should see this movie.
It's the least Pixar film of all time. It's really bizarre. And Lasseter directed it, which I find odd too. But
It makes no sense.
all right, without any spoilers. How do I give this? How do I say?
Who
Don't.
cares?
It's a spoiler. Don't listen from here on. All right. So
turn off the podcast.
Why invent all in all if you already have the market cornered on big oil?
I think the way they explained it was that they invented all in all, and then at the last second they found all those new oil reserves. That's completely how they tried to explain that whole thing away.
Yeah, I
the
must have
last
missed
5
that.
minutes of that movie, they just tried to explain stuff away that they just didn't need to include in the movie.
Talk about a convoluted plot for a kid.
Dude, crazy.
When we got out of the theater, I was like, "There's no."
And spoiler?
What's that?
Yeah, okay. Spoiler. So there's no way. I watched it and I was like, "There's no way my daughter has any idea what's going on." So when we get out out of the theater, we're standing in the aisle, we're standing in the hallway, and I asked Millie, I was like, "So what was that movie about?" And she looked at me, and she goes, "Lightning won the race." And I was like, I guess that's
Yeah, spoiler for that too.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure that happened, honestly.
yeah. I don't know either. Actually, now that you mention it,
I don't remember anything happening, or the race was like had nothing to do with the movie in any
with
way.
anything.
Right.
Yeah, the fact that they were cars had nothing to do with the movie. Let's put it this way. This happens pretty early on in the movie. You've got a movie where you replace people with cars, okay? So
Right.
you're going to have a spy thing. You're going to have an action scene, okay? They're cars. What is an action scene with cars? What does that entail?
A chase?
Right. Where in the list of things where it's an action scene with cars would you include a fist fight in a bathroom? They do. They get
They have a fist fight?
Yes, they do.
They're like tire to tire combat. They're fighting in a bathroom.
Tire.
Also,
It
by
makes
the
no
way,
sense.
there was a lot of murder in that movie that wasn't discussed. Like that fist fight in the bathroom ended in death.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, so-and-so's dead. And then at some point, they're like, kill Lightning McQueen. He has to die. Make him die.
Kill the tow truck.
Kill the tow truck. Kill it dead with murder. I mean, it's like, it was fucking really brutal.
Vehicle aside?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the whole thing was like, I get that you want to make the cars into people, kind of.
Sure.
But that's not what the first one was like at all.
No.
To me, it was just like, what if cars were the culture and like, haha, everything's based around that? They just took like people plots and just put cars in them. Like, there's a spy on a ship who happens to be a car. You know, it didn't make any sense. None of it made any sense. to
And
me.
it's all the bad guy is big oil, and it's like, it's really bizarre.
Yeah, they really drove that home.
They really did. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's like they must have been like, I don't think WALL-E was overt enough. We want to get more in your face with
the first Cars
environmentalism.
movie was all about like supporting local business or your town will die, and like I mean, it was heavy-handed to begin with.
Yeah, and time leaving you behind a little bit.
This
as
was
culture
a-
moves on, right? You know?
Yeah,
This
but
was
then-
about joining MI6 and murdering bad guys.
Pretty
Awesome.
much.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And big oil is bad because they will invent alternative fuels that then they will shoot you with the death ray.
They had a death ray, dude. They had a fucking death ray.
They had a death ray that only worked on cars that drove a certain kind of gas.
That
or something.
only worked on cars that used environmentally friendly gas.
Oh.
I heard one of the great reviews, like one-line reviews I heard of the movie though, which is I can't wait for WALL-E 2 where WALL-E cleans up all the merchandise left over from cars. I think that was Drew from HitFix that wrote that. Or
Oh,
he
my
might have
God.
retweeted it. Sometimes retweeting can mess up the attribution of a quote. But my wife said the best thing about that movie while we were watching the movie. She comes up to me because first of all, I think I might be done going to see movies opening weekend. I might be done with cinemas in general. Because Jeff and I showed up 20 minutes for this movie. We showed up early. Normal cinema, not the Alamo. So we showed up 20 minutes early. We had already,
Maybe even a little earlier.
Maybe even a little earlier than that. We had already purchased our tickets online. We were all set to go. We get there. There's 5 people in my group and
Just
people,
two, me and Millie.
2 people in your group, and Matt and Anna and their kids came as well. We couldn't even get close to each other. Matt and Anna, they got there like within 10 minutes of the movie starting. They couldn't even sit together. Like, they had to put their
Wow.
kids on their lap to sit together.
Yeah.
So it was just like, what are we doing? You know, just we could wait an extra week and go see it, and there'd be nobody in the theater.
Yeah, Millie was so upset because she's like, "Why are we sitting here?" And I'm like, "Well, there's no room over there." And she's like, "I can see Teddy. I want to sit next to Teddy." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's not going to happen, sweetie."
We could
Sorry.
have just jammed them in the seat together.
I guess
That's what
we could have,
That's what
yeah.
we should have done. But so my wife comes up to me, like she like crouches and like comes over to where I'm sitting because she was sitting a row in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "Do you understand what's going on in this movie?" I said, "I have no, baby. Honestly, I have no clue what's going on." And she said, "I said, do you?" She goes, "No." She goes, "This movie, when I'm watching it, it sounds like the kids describing to me what happens in the movie." Because it's like, and then they were on a boat, and then Lightning McQueen shot a guy, and then they were in a bathroom, and then they were at a party, and then they went to France, and then they were in Italy, and then they were, and then it was like on and on. The whole
And
movie
there was a big clock and then a ray gun. Yeah. And they danced on a tight wire.
and then they flew, and the one car could turn into a plane, and the one car could turn into a boat, and it's like, dear Lord, they just, I mean, it was like they never stopped with that movie. So
Yeah.
Why? You know, why?
don't know. I honestly can't tell you what that movie was about. I can tell you this though, my kids loved it.
My kid loved it too. Lightning McQueen, I think, won the race.
And I asked my kids, I said, what happened in the movie? And they said there was a bunch of spy stuff. That was it. Just a bunch of spy stuff. But speaking of which, we saw a preview for the new Spy Kids movie, which now has Aromavision, where they will have Sense in the theater. It's in 4D.
I didn't realize Sense was the fourth dimension. Stephen
Yeah.
Hawking may take a bridge with that claim.
Here's the thing I don't get about that. How many times in like cinematic history have they tried to do like gimmicky kind of shit where like who is that horror director that like would have skeletons like fly into the audience?
I don't know the guy's
and, like-
name, but it's the guy that directed the House on Haunted Hill.
Yeah.
Is this the same guy who would sell life insurance
Policies, yeah.
Like they do that kind of shit, and it's like it doesn't ultimately. If you just make a good movie and put it in the theater, and you can see it.
You know,
Don't tell Pixar that.
You know why that worked and why that guy was important though?
Why?
Because he was becoming like the poor man's Alfred Hitchcock, and that's why the movie The Haunting was made to be as a reaction to his cheap theatrics.
Yeah.
They wanted to make a legitimately scary horror movie without
still
any
think it's
side
really-
effects, and it was their answer to the House on Haunted Hill was The Haunting of Hill House. And it was a fantastic movie, still to this
it's
day.
just called The Haunting.
Yeah, well, it's
I think it's 1959. Yeah, it's still one of my favorite horror movies because they have barely anything. Like there's like one effect in the whole movie.
Yeah.
So most of it is just like setting it up, or like if you hear voice,
It's tension.
They'll zoom in on the wall to like the spot on the wall you'd be staring at if you heard a voice through it, and you can barely hear it, and then they'll just do that for a while, and it's like you can imagine being in the situation more than like in the new version they had like faces coming through the wall, you could see the face, or like you could see full figures and like
plus J-Lo.
yeah, I don't know. Like you look at like that movie where they had nothing and they had to work with what they had, and then the movie, I think it was made in the 90s. I don't know. Do you know when it was made?
No,
Like the
early
2000s.
2000s.
The remake, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like what we can do now doesn't help us tell stories. If we can't tell the story.
Yeah, right. It's like I think it's based on people's memories of what they saw in the theater as a kid, and then they try to replicate it, but then they take it too far.
Mm-hmm.
Like they fill in the gaps for the audience, which that's the best part of horror is you show them a little bit, and then their mind will create something worse.
Yeah,
Speaking of
definitely.
remakes, do you guys know they're remaking Total Recall right now?
Yeah,
They are.
Yeah.
Why? That movie's fine. It does not need to be remade.
Who's going to be in it?
I don't know. Hopefully, all right. I'll tell you this: I don't want to see that film unless The Rock is in it. If The Rock is in it, I'll totally watch it.
I'd watch anything with The Rock in it.
Yeah, no kidding,
I don't know why The Rock isn't the biggest star in America. I always say that.
dude. He was the entire reason to watch Fast Five.
Yeah, there's.
I mean, all of the explosions and stuff, but that dude was awesome.
yeah, Vin Diesel was not.
Dude,
the reason to watch that movie.
if you're Vin Diesel, you should never ever allow yourself to appear as a muscular guy against The Rock or opposite The Rock in a film. He looked like that dude you kick sand on the beach. He did. He was the before guy who got sand kicked on him in the beach in front of his girlfriend, and The
Exactly.
Rock was the dude kicking the sand.
He's the dude in the back of the comic, like sending away
Yeah.
the Charles Atlas workout program.
He was standing there trying to decide if he should order Atlas or the X-rays Vision.
Where you can see through the bones in your hand.
Yeah.
So, what is the scariest thing that you have ever seen in a movie? Like your scariest moment? Would it be that?
Oh, there was a really scary movie. I forgot the name of it. It was a South Korean movie. Do you remember it? It was the
Two Sisters.
Two Sisters. That movie's really scary.
That was pretty scary. A tale of two sisters.
Yeah, and then it's about these two girls. Sort of, it's really weird because at the end it kind of has this departure from reality, and you don't know what it is you've actually watched, if it's real or whatever's happening. Which I have mixed feelings about anyway. I think that you should at least kind of have an idea of what's going on by the end of the movie.
Yeah,
Right?
probably.
I think so. Maybe it's just me. No, but there's like a scene where she like hears something, or she hears a drip, and she looks under this little like.
I knew that was
You know
the
what
scene
I'm
you were going to
talking
say. I
about,
knew that
Yes.
as soon as you mentioned the movie, I knew that was
I
going
don't
to be
know
the
what
scene.
it was about that, but it was so scary. I guess it's because that fear that you have when you walk up to something that has like a hiding place under it. Like if you walk next to your bed, like I always like usually I'll jump up onto the bed, like I won't get within a foot of the edge of the bed.
Do you do
So I
that
don't
still?
want somebody to cut my Achilles like they probably would do.
Right, yeah.
No, it's scary.
No, that was a scary moment.
Yeah.
I'd say the entirety of The Exorcist.
Oh yeah.
There
That
was-
movie
there
freaks me
wasn't
out to
one-
think about.
My wife hates the crab walk.
Crab Walk is terrible.
Yeah.
Crab
The
Walk's
Exorcist.
creepy.
Just,
Terrible.
just the beginning of the thud in the attic. I don't know, like
Yeah.
that sound, because that's sounds that we hear all the time in our house.
Every second of that film is scary to me.
You too? I've started hearing stuff in my attic lately also. It's been freaking me out.
Probably squirrels,
Probably squirrels.
murder
Or,
squirrels.
I don't know, The Grudge or something.
Oh, shit.
Squirrels
Your old
from-
apartment looked just like the one in The Grudge. Like
Yeah, I remember.
Well, in Ju-on, they like the original, not
I
the
think they both,
remake.
but the house and The Grudge
Yeah.
they kind of matched. It looked like similar. But yeah, your apartment had this like weird attic crawl space, which is weird for an apartment anyway.
Yeah.
And it looked exactly like the same layout. Like you should go up there and see the bodies in the corner.
You know what I thought was weird about that whole deal? Gus would go out of town a lot. It was back when we traveled a bunch, and so you would always feed his cat. But you would go over to Gus's house to feed his cat and take a shower.
You don't know what.
Well, I had shower cam.
That's I remember you taking a lot of showers in
I
Gus's
took like
old
one
apartment.
shower at his apartment. I just needed one at the moment. I
Did
don't
you know about this?
I think they told me after the fact.
Yeah.
Like
Just
after I moved
fucking-
out of the apartment,
okay,
they're like,
I
oh, yeah,
don't care.
everything's to take
I don't
showers
care.
out.
If there's a door that I can lock and I don't have like 3 people running in and a dog when I'm trying to take a shower, I'm happy with that. I don't care if I have to go to somebody else's house to get it.
Stop,
Sounds like a threat.
stop making people and buying dogs.
What about you? What was your scariest movie moment?
Very specifically for me, and it just creeped me out. First of all, when in The Shining, when Danny turns the corner on his big wheel and the twins are standing at the end of the hallway,
Yeah.
there's something about long hallways that freak me out. Really long, especially long hallways that end in a door.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that is. And there was also that scene in Poltergeist when she goes at the end to run up to the kids' room and the hallway just like stretches
Oh, yeah.
while she's looking at it. I don't know what that is. That just freaked me out. To this day, it's like thinking about it freaks me out.
There's
that movie was scary, and the clown thing. And the fact that it was under the bed, I'm telling you.
It's always the bed.
Didn't that scare you as a kid?
Yeah, okay, yeah, of course. Everything scared me as a kid. There's a hotel in San Francisco. I forget what it's called, but I stayed there a few years ago on one of the trips that looks just like the house from The Shining.
Oh, yeah?
It's got like those long halls
That sounds
and like
awesome.
doors at the end of the hall, and it's like super vaulted ceilings and the elevator. I mean, it's like you feel like you're on the set. It's so weird.
Well, I think Stephen King wrote it. He stayed at the hotel. What was it? The Lookout? No,
Yeah,
that's
that
what
place
it's called
is-
in
that
the
place
movie,
is
but there's
there.
a real place. Yeah, that it was based on. Anyway, but he stayed, and like within one night, he had the story like written. Like I think I've had an interview or heard an interview where he said that the fire hose scene or whatever, where the fire hose comes down and like snakes across the floor. Like part of the story was inspired by him just walking by this thing and like imagining what could happen.
I don't remember a fire hose scene in The Shining. Am I crazy?
It's in the book.
It's in the book.
Oh, okay.
I feel
Okay.
like
Griffin's
it's-
never
no,
seen the movie.
I think it's in the movie. I watched it once and I didn't like. It was enough of the story to intrigue me, but I didn't know how certain things had happened. So I read the book, and actually that book, like for 3 months after I had nightmares, like just from the book.
As weird as that, I probably couldn't go back and read it today, but it was like that for me.
I tried to go back and read it.
It's
like
gotta
a
be
year
horrible,
ago.
right?
I got about 800 pages in, saw that I still had like 300 to go, and I had to put it down.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Wow, at that point, I feel like you've already gone so far.
You would think so, or you can cut your losses and run.
exactly.
I'd
Get
already
out.
read that book twice as a kid. It's like Bernie's right. You can't go back.
Well, and also
The
I think
dude's
that
fucking verbose.
You can't read Stephen King out loud to another person. First of all, it kills kind of the build up anyway. Like the scary parts sort of is shot by 2 people reading out loud to each other, and also there's so much of that inner bullshit, like the inner monologues and stuff, that it's just like reading it, skimming it while you're reading it fast to yourself is one thing, but trying to read it out loud to somebody, it just like drags. It's terrible.
I remember liking him a lot as a kid, but like I tried to go back maybe a year ago and read that Under the Dome because I like the concept of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like the Simpsons movie, and I had forgotten that that thing he does where he'll introduce a story arc, and then he'll introduce you to every single person in the town, a chapter at a time, and you're like, "There's got to be 20,000 people in this town. I have to stop immediately."
it was a good book.
Was it? I got 200 pages in, and I had to stop. I couldn't give a shit about ancillary characters anymore.
The meth guy kind of wore me down a little bit,
Yeah.
But it was the most like The Stand of any other book that he had written.
I got beat down by the high school football player dude that killed his girlfriend, and
Had the brain tumor.
yeah, he just like he wore me
And
out.
that's the thing. I think anytime where he like slips into a voice, you know, like, or it's like a way of speaking. That just drives me crazy. Like having to commit to it, or like all the, do you know what I'm talking about? Like he always has some character that talks in a weird way, and then you got to like suffer through chapters of this guy talking in this weird way. And if you're reading out loud, it's really hard, especially if you're embarrassed about doing accents.
I think the only Stephen King book I ever read was The Stand, that I remember, like the Trash Can Man. That was his name, right? He was like that, where he had a weird method of talking.
Yeah.
And was it Tom? What's his name in The Stand? The Moon guy.
Oh yeah.
I want to say Tom Moon, but that's not his name.
But
yeah.
there were like whole chapters of the Trash Can Man, like his thoughts and like walking around. And it's like, oh my god, it's so jarring and incoherent.
Yeah, I just feel like it's sort of like a writer masturbating a little bit.
That guy's prolific. I mean, he can just write and write.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know, I read a long streak of Stephen King, a long streak.
It was my entire childhood.
And then I had a book that broke me of it. Do you remember what book made you stop?
I have a very clear moment of when I stopped reading Stephen King. I did the same thing.
By the way, this is not a criticism.
No.
Yeah.
I read probably 20, 25 Stephen King books. I read every single Stephen King book up until 4 past midnight. I got halfway through the Langoliers.
Langoliers, huh?
Langoliers killed it for me. And I put it down, and I never picked up another book until...
Dude, he's got some of the best short
I don't know,
stories.
until I was an adult.
Night Shift.
Night Shift's
collection
great.
of short stories.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Jerusalem's Lot, awesome.
Oh, yeah?
Awesome. Yeah, it was a story in Night Shift or Skeleton Crew.
No, it's Salem's Lot? Or?
No, Jerusalem's Lot was a short story about Salem's Lot, but like 100 years in the past, about a dude who just moved there, and he lived in this house, and it was like pre-vampires, but it was about how the area was evil, and that's why the vampire was attracted in Salem's Lot. And it's just about like this satanic church he found in the woods and how it slowly drove him mad. And it's like 40-page short story, but if you like Salem's Lot, which I liked a lot, it's really cool, like prehistory.
Is the house that he moves into, is that the one that is in Salem's Lot?
Yeah.
Where they find
and he hears stuff on the walls, and then he starts
Stuff on the walls
going
is
mad,
scary.
and then he goes off into the woods and he finds this like satanic church, and this is like in the 1800s, and it's super super fucking creepy.
Stuff in the walls is always scary.
What
back to what things scary in movies.
What killed it for you?
I read Tommy Knockers and made it through Tommy Knockers.
Tommy Knockers was tough, but I made it through.
I made it through Tommy Knockers, and then I read Gerald's Game. Would you ever read Gerald's Game?
I read like the first 2 chapters,
And I tried to read the whole thing, and I think I read the whole thing, and that just...
It was like...
It killed my momentum with Stephen King.
It was like Cujo 2 to me.
No,
I felt like I'd already
it was
read
like
that.
Misery 2 to me. Because
Oh yeah, Misery's a good one too.
It was basically a story about this man, this woman, they go on a romantic weekend together in some remote location, and as part of like role play, he handcuffs her to the bed, and something happens where like he gets a little too aggressive or something, and she kicks him in the balls while she's handcuffed to the bed, and she kills him. Like somehow, like
he falls and hits his head or something.
Maybe he's too worked up or something. Anyway, this guy dies. So the whole story is this woman handcuffed to a bed naked. So it was like Misery in a way, and like Cujo where she's trapped, but then it was like this weird like. He kind of like Piers Anthony Griffin in that the sex stuff.
Can you stop bringing it up?
I know. So there's something weird about the sex stuff that he writes, Stephen King's sex stuff. That's like I kind of identify with it sometimes, but a lot of times it just feels like too overt or weirdly too
kind of
juvenile,
stilted, and
or something like that.
Yeah, no, but that's funny because like when you start to pick up on something from like somebody that you could create something, and you start to pick up on something that you can't really identify with, it's hard to see past it.
Yeah,
like that was with Piers Anthony. Like I couldn't. It was the sex stuff got weird to me as I got older and was noticing it more. And then anytime it was sort of like anti-gay or something anti-gay was sort of worked in, even if it was not very overt, like it just bugged me. I couldn't keep buying books. I couldn't keep reading it.
Really?
Yeah, but I think that if you pick up on some weird. Because, so especially with writing, I think you're very naked when you're doing it. I mean, even if you're writing from a different character, you're coming up with something that you may not do in a million years. It was in your brain to begin with.
Tommy Knockers, interesting you bring that up, and the sex thing. That was what almost killed the Tommy Knockers for me. There was a lot of weird sex stuff.
I think maybe it was back to back reading those 2 books. Yeah,
because it was like it got into like weird alien sex stuff a little bit, and it was just like
Tommy Knockers was long.
I was like 16 when I read it, so I was super horny and ready to go. And even then, I was like, "This is just this is not a turn on."
I often think that parts of Lost were inspired by Tommy Knockers. The whole thing about finding the hatch. That's very much like Tommy Knockers.
Yeah, you're right.
You know,
tripping over the
piece of metal.
And
when the digging and the.
Do you guys know what that book's about?
No idea.
It's about a. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
It's about a woman who kind of lives off in, I think, probably Maine.
Go figure.
Really?
Outside of Bangor, Maine, and she is out like walking in the woods behind her house, and she trips over like a piece of metal, and she starts to uncover it, and it's like a crescent, and the more she uncovers, the more it is, and then so she's kind of freaked out, but she's a writer, and she goes home and she like gets out her compass and she draws it and realizes that it's massive, like I don't know, hundreds of feet across. So she starts to excavate it, and it's a spaceship. And as she excavates it, like the memories of the aliens inside start to infiltrate her mind, and then like
There's
she
a
starts
death ray, and
there's a-
Lightning McQueen is in a race.
yeah, she starts like
Then
writing.
she's in Italy.
She starts writing books without knowing it, and like all kinds of weird stuff.
But
goes
she,
on.
and one
And
she
got a
grabs
sister.
the edge of it, and it stops vibrating, and then she
Yeah.
hears like all this stuff in her head, and then
And then it like as she excavates more and more, it starts to affect the entire town, and
Right.
everything just kind of goes to hell.
sounds great.
Cool idea.
Yeah, sounds
Very-
awesome.
it's
actually.
long.
Yeah.
It's really long.
If you-
Yeah.
you can get past her sister's dildo chapter, you're probably fine.
So, or if you fold all those pages to come back to later. So who's an author then? Who would you read all the time? And you're like, I will definitely read a book by them. Under the Dome, by the way, I loved it. I thought it was great.
Really?
Recent Stephen King novel. Thought it was great.
I'll read anything by Neil Gaiman.
Neil Gaiman. And I haven't read anything by Neil Gaiman. Not a thing.
You should read American Gods because it's about to be an HBO show. I think.
American Gods. Okay.
Yeah, read it
It's a good
before
book.
Yeah.
What about you, Gus? Anybody you would read?
I don't read a whole lot. The guy that I read more than anyone else is probably Neil Stevenson. He wrote Snow Crash and stuff like that. Snow Crash, Cryptonomicon.
Okay.
Does it have to be somebody that's still making books?
No.
Like a contemporary author? I've read everything and will continue to reread everything by Dash Hammett and Raymond Chandler.
Okay.
Those are my go-tos.
What's the number one book in that one?
Oh, gosh. Raymond Chandler has a book of short stories called Killer in the Rain that it's like his first 7 novels.
I'm not
But
familiar
it-
at all. Like, what's the genre?
Like noir crime.
Oh,
like
okay.
LA Noir-esque.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Matt
Like
has
1940s LA.
Matt
Kind
had-
of like your Matt's script.
Yeah, kind of like Matt's script. Yeah, Matt had a pulp,
Same
detective.
theme. Yeah.
You like that stuff, huh?
Love it. Yeah.
Yeah, mine is definitely Cormac McCarthy. I read anything by Cormac McCarthy, and I know a lot of people can't slog through it, but I fucking love it, dude.
Dude's a great writer, but I just don't want to commit suicide every time I read a book.
Yeah. Oh, because you think about the road specifically?
I've also read about like the one about the dude and his buddy that go down to Mexico.
Yeah, all the pretty horses.
God damn.
That's in a series, yeah. And I just recently went back and read The Crossing again, and it's interesting because I had that book out, and one of our actors that we just recently hired came out of the audio booth, saw it, and was going crazy for it. And so we talked about Cormac McCarthy for a long time, and it was weird because I say the first 123 pages of that book are absolutely perfect, and they couldn't stand it. They thought it was horrible, and they just waited to get through to the last part of the book, which is
Really?
the last 2/3 of the book. So, yeah, man, I think it's great. He also wrote No Country for Old Men.
Yeah.
And other things as well. Wow, we talked about reading for a long time.
Yeah.
I feel
we
proud.
keep going. We are.
I bet if we reclassify to the book section of iTunes podcast, we might win that one.
destroy.
We'll be number 1 there.
I wouldn't be so sure. I don't know if our podcast would fit in that
Hopefully
section.
NPR doesn't have a book podcast that we'd have to compete against.
Come on, what is going on with NPR?
Wait! Don't read me. What was the last book you read?
Well, I was just rereading that, and
Yeah.
I read. I just made a pass through a bunch of the Halo novels because I was writing for season 9. So I guess the last thing that I read, new book that I read,
Just whatever. First time read.
first time read for me, so new to me. Can I skip and come back to me because I'll tell you about that for a
It's
second.
tough. How about you?
I'm reading Tina Fey's book right now.
Oh,
Bossy
right.
Pants.
Bossy Pants.
It's fucking hilarious.
It's pretty
and
funny.
It's a really fast read. It's a good airplane book.
How about before that? Do you remember?
We were reading something together.
The last thing we read together was the Houdini biography.
that
I
was
think
a long time
it was
ago.
a while ago.
Shit. No, it's been a while since we've been reading.
What about you guys?
It's been a while, and y'all are going to make fun of me. But it was a Stephen Wolfram book called A New Kind of Science.
Oh, nice.
It's about math.
I'm gonna beat you up after this podcast.
No, here, let me just give you my milk money right now.
I guess my first one, the most recent one I read recently was Coal Protocol, which was a Halo novel, and I just, for whatever reason, hadn't read that one. So I still need to read the Forerunner books that they put out because I haven't read the new one yet.
I put every Halo novel and every Gears of War novel in my on my iPhone, and I just haven't gotten around to reading them. I've been reading Cannery Row for 7 months.
Yeah.
I read a page at a time. I don't know why. Can't get through it. It's a good book, though.
The only one I
It's
would
just hard
say
to sit down and read.
in the Halo novels, I mean, I think that you could probably skip the second one, which is The Flood. It's almost like the novelization of the game.
Yeah.
You could probably skip that one, not because I didn't like it, but because it could potentially kill your momentum for reading the series.
I see what you're saying.
But you definitely want to get through the First Strike and Ghost of Onyx and things like that, especially Ghost of Onyx. And then Contact Harvest is great too.
Got them all.
Oh, I know what it was. After Houdini, we read the Ender's Game series, or we tried to.
Oh, shit, we
because
went through Ender's Game, that's
you were
right.
talking about the killing the momentum, and there's definitely some points in everything after Ender's Game that kind of kills the momentum. You have to commit to it.
Yeah, you do.
You got about 75 pages of Pequeninos where you're just like, I don't know.
See, you guys, that's the third novel.
Space battles were awesome. I don't know.
Yeah.
But no, it's good, though. It's really good.
It's really good.
We made it through the first 4 books.
And I think that as far as like science fiction, it's just like you have to read them.
Yeah.
You know.
I've never done that before either, where I read like Ender's Game and then had to immediately read with whatever the next one was. I can't remember the names of all of them. And we read like the first 4 books without a break, without a pause.
I feel like I did,
book to book to book to book.
I did that with those Star Wars novels that came out a few years ago.
The Timothy Zahn ones.
Yeah, the Timothy
Yeah.
Zahn ones. Like,
Yep.
I think I read all 3 in like the course of 4 or 5 days.
It's a good series.
I
dude.
could not put them down.
Yeah, it's a good series. Mm-hmm. What's this Game of Thrones everyone keeps talking about? Did I somehow
I
miss?
don't know.
It's very popular. It's based on a book, right? I don't know.
I've never heard of it.
Never heard of the book, but apparently it's beloved, and the HBO show is fantastic too. I guess. I don't know a fucking thing about it.
It just ended, right? Season 1 just ended or something?
I guess.
Maybe I wonder if it's on iTunes. Maybe I should check it out.
I'm tired of every woman I know talking to me about how hot Peter Dinklage is. He's the midget guy from the station agents.
Oh yeah. That dude. He was in Elf.
He was an Elf. Yeah,
He was great in Elf.
that guy has some
He was in
serious
30 Rock.
charisma. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who was he in
He's
30 Rock?
definitely
He
cute.
played Liz Lemon's boyfriend for an episode. Remember?
Oh, right. Yeah.
Tosses his hair, thinking he's a small child. And has to like make up for it.
That's a great joke.
I guess dwarf, not midget, right?
A little person.
Yeah, is that right?
I think so.
Okay.
We listen to enough Howard Stern that we should know this.
Yeah, we should. Yeah, we definitely should.
What's the difference? It's not necessary for me to ask. Is it?
I think midget is a derogatory term, right?
Oh, is it?
I thought there were 2 different definitions.
I think there's a difference between a dwarf and a little person.
I thought
but
specifically
I
dwarfism
think
is.
it has something to do with the proportions.
Yeah,
of
that's
the
what I
body,
thought.
right?
It has to do with the limb proportion to the torso. I think is what it is. Like
Yeah.
I think a dwarf is normal sized torso and just the limbs are shorter, and that's it. I think. Like that's what
yeah.
we man.
Right.
We man's a dwarf. I think.
Well, there's probably some guide on the internet you could link to.
Oh yeah, I'll be sure to find a guide. But we can't go too much longer.
Turn on Safe Search.
So if you got the other day, oh man, speaking of Safe Search, the other day we talked about when we did the video podcast, we talked about TSTV.
Yeah.
So I was, when I was doing the link up, I was like, okay, I need to find some TSTV links. So I typed TSTV into Google, and like all the text results are like transsexual, transvestite porn.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, well, that's weird. Well, I'm just looking for their logo. I'll just click on images. So I clicked on images, and I was like, I just wasn't thinking. And it was just like dudes giving other dudes blowjobs who look like chicks. And it's like, oh my God, what was I thinking?
Did you save any of the searches?
I've got them all cataloged and indexed.
Now I really want to find a power supply.
Gives a new meaning to the term link dump.
Hey, so I want to bring up something too that I forgot to mention. I had to go look for my power supply when we were talking about it. But you talk about the old movies like The Haunting and just like selling life insurance policies for people to get in the theater. You guys ever hear about the gimmick they did for the Tingler?
When they electrocuted the seats or whatever?
Yeah, so the
my
thing
God.
was in the movie there was this thing called the tingler, which you couldn't see, which would I guess invade your brain and your spinal column.
Yeah.
And you would feel a tingling. The characters in the movie would take them over, and the only way to rid your body of the tingler was to scream constantly, like just start screaming at the top of your lungs. And
So
it was,
find a tarantula hawk.
and yeah, so get stung by one. So what they would do is they would rig seats in the theater to have an electroshock device.
All of them were just select ones.
Select ones, and they just start turning them on in the middle of the movie. And so people would just start standing up and screaming in the movie, which it sounds pretty cool to me. Actually, is like
Were they standing up the thing is, were they standing up and screaming because they thought they had the tingler, or because they were getting fucking electrocuted in their chair?
Probably a little bit of both. People were easy to rouse back then. I watched that documentary on Vertigo and the phenomenon that it was. I don't know if it's on Netflix. I watched it a long time ago. But if it is, you should check it out. They have footage of like the Vertigo premiere. And by Vertigo, I totally mean Psycho.
Yeah,
I don't know
I was
why
gonna
I
say,
said
yeah.
Vertigo. And if you watch Psycho now, it's a pretty tame movie.
Yeah,
You're
slow.
like, you get why it's influential, but it's not. I mean, after you've seen like a Paranormal Activity, you're not going to be scared by it, you know?
we talked about this once before, like
Did we? About
Citizen
how-
Kane,
Yeah.
and how you go back and watch Citizen Kane, you don't have the perspective.
Right. But they had footage of like women running out of the theater like 30 minutes in, screaming and crying and having to be consoled by their husbands and their boyfriends, and like people yelling at the camera about how something this disgusting should have never been made, and it's not fit for people to watch, and it's too terrifying, and it's all shock value. Man, I would love to go back in time and just show them I don't know, like an Eli Roth movie.
Yeah.
Like show a 1955 audience like Hostel to people with like you might see spontaneous combustion.
You know, kind of on a related note, over the weekend, my wife was asking me this question, which I thought was really weird. She said, if, like, let's say a serial killer from, like, the 1800s showed up today, do you think they'd be scary? Like, do you think they could kill anyone? Or would, like, your average person today be approached by the serial killer and be like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
And just, punch him out?
why are you twisting your mustache menacingly?
It's like a murderer from the past isn't nearly scary anymore.
I
because of modern
disagree.
times.
Are you rhyming at me right now, sir?
But now, God, I mean, killing is the same. Like, the first serial killer in North America actually beat. We have it in Austin. It's like the first. It was before H.H. Holmes in Chicago. It was the servant girl annihilator, and he used to lobotomize women, rape them, and cut their face up with a hatchet. Still scary today, I bet.
I'm into that.
It's
First serial killer in the
Whoa.
Western world was from Austin.
That's why they have those
Moonlight
lights.
Towers. I'm sure we've talked about this extensively
we
in the
have talked about it
podcast.
on the podcast. I don't want to.
I don't like when people know too much about serial killers. That's like flag for me.
Well, we just went on a ghost tour of Austin and found out all about them.
Like microwaving mosquitoes.
Yeah.
That's the kind of flag.
Do you think Perry Steakhouse is going to get added to the ghost tour?
Maybe it will.
Okay, so that brings a point about the past. Like, the fact that they could just electrocute you in your seat and they didn't have to warn you, that's fucking crazy.
Well, I was going to say, there was a period of time where people didn't really respect electricity, and they would use it as like a party favor. And I've run into this down. Have you ever go down to Mexico? Like some of the
I try to avoid it.
Okay, so I used to go down to like border towns in Mexico, and there's this dude walking around at some of these bars down there, and he has this game that he likes to play, which is essentially where he has a car battery on his
God.
belt with a dial on it, and you hold 2 copper rods, and you're drunk guys in a bar holding 2 copper rods attached to a battery with essentially a resistor, a variable resistor this guy cranks up, and you see who can go higher on the dial. And you're like... It's kind of like, I guess, that thing that's in the Dave & Buster's with Uncle Fester on it. Except
Yeah.
the fact my friend won because he could go higher than anyone else, but we realized he got to the point at which we could no longer let go.
Like
my
he won a
God.
trip to the emergency room.
Like, he was like, I can't see it because it's a visual thing, but imagine clenching your fist, and then his arm started to roll up like this. And we were like, wow, you're Chris, you're doing awesome. And he's like... And then eventually I think somebody figured it out. We're like, hey, do you turn off the battery?
Oh, man.
That's
And
fucked
what
up.
you would do is you would both put down $1, and whoever could go the highest would get his own dollar back. So that's how you won. You got your own money back. You didn't pay to be shocked.
Wow.
So you didn't
Wow.
you got a free shock if you got shocked the most.
Only if you won. Exactly.
If you lost, you're out a buck.
It sucked, dude. It sucked.
All right, well, we got to wrap this thing up. But thank you for that great story.
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm sorry, I've never heard that one before.
I'm just glad there were no snakes involved in that story.
Check us out at Anime Expo this weekend and at San Diego Comic Con in about a month.
Yeah. See
All
you
right, thanks for listening.
Ta-ta.